Number 10, Ons Jabeur. Number 9, Caroline Garcia. Number 8, Maria Sakkari. Number 7, Marketa Vondrushova. Number 6, Elina Svitolina. Number 5, Jessica Pegula. Number 4, Coco Gauff. Number 3, Arina Sabalenka. Number 2, Elena Rybakina. And number 1, Iga Swiatek.
John, I won't want to go cool down, but we can do a couple.
Yeah, right now?
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
Okay, great.
You got it all inside of you.
Yeah, should work fine. Can I have 10 seconds or 20 seconds?
Okay.
I didn't know, sorry.
All right.
That's fine. He just wants to. Yeah, yeah, no, that's fine. You can just come the time and then
Feel it to be true. And when you dance,
Yeah, sure.
Is it okay to stand here or you'd rather sit down there?
where do you want me?
Standing here?
Here?
Is
Okay, yeah.
I don't want to, make you stand up for too long. Okay, let me just check the camera's on. Yes, it is. What a return! Leila Fernandez! Take a bounce! Match point, ladies and gentlemen. Championship Billie Jean King Cup point. Get her in somehow. What attack! What defense! Wow! Wow! Look at this! Boy,
I was probably a little bit bamboozled with with everything. Sorry.
And Billie Jean King Cup 2023, that's a wrap.
Ready? Play.
There we go. Can you hear me all right, everyone? Give me a thumbs up if you can. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, whatever time it is in the world, wherever you are tuning in from. Just going to have to just turn this down. As you can see from the scoreboard, Osaka has held serve fairly comfortably in this opening game of this match. Much to her delight. The change of ends now already. Do get voting in our poll on who you think is going to emerge the winner in this particular clash. Pre-match, I have gone for Garcia, but I'm sure there's plenty out there that are suspecting a win for Naomi Osaka. So Garcia to serve. Love one. Osaka's return position, pretty aggressive, not quite Garcia-esque, well, almost actually, but she goes long on the return. Yeah, do get voting in our poll, which I will share with you right now. At the moment, we've not got anyone voting yet. Get voting in our poll on who you think is going to emerge the winner. 40 love now, Garcia. Close call. Close call. And she has held to love. Some pretty good serving there from the Frenchwoman. So 1 game all. 2 fairly comfortable holds for both players. Some aces in there from Garcia. Also, let me know in the live chat what you thought of some of the other matches. Andy Murray, what a beating he took today in straight sets. Zizou Bergs won the first set against Stefanos Tsitsipas before going out in 4. Mashak beating Shapovalov in 3 sets. Laura Siegmund through in 3 sets. 11-9 in the deciding set tiebreak against Alexandrova. Garcia as well, not doing much here, not making much of an impression on the Osaka serve. One of those points is an ace for Naomi. Some comments here in the live chat. I have neglected it. I apologize. Oh, it's Damien. 2 hours sleep, Damien. Hey, Miles.
Hey.
Cool. Fairly comfortable for both players on serve at the moment.
Yeah, nothing too fussy to begin with in the opening 2 games. A couple of great serves from Osaka. Good to see. The commentators are already joking that asking if she's comfortable on this court or not, kind of, a nod to the fact that she's a two-time champion, starting off strong and hasn't played there in a couple of years. So
Yeah. So you are edging towards Osaka.
mhm.
I'm edging towards Garcia, partly because I think there's been a few flashes of return to form, and I just think that Osaka probably needed one or two more matches before this tournament to really give me a lot of belief that she's ready to win matches of this caliber. But why is it you think that Osaka will emerge the winner?
I think Osaka is going to take confidence in the fact that she's beat Garcia on this very court at this very tournament, and I've honestly been trying to answer the question of how Garcia beats Naomi from the ground, and I'm not as I formulate the rallies in my mind, I can't see them going Garcia's way enough for her to get the win. I could be completely wrong, but in my mind, how it's working
Sure.
with the serve and the power from the baseline, I just feel like Osaka has the edge. But there's something to be said. The fact that she's only played 2 times in the past year, and Garcia is much more tour hardened and all of those things. So I'm excited to see how it plays out.
Any results from today that really come to mind when I say what stood out for you in the last few hours?
A tad.
Andy Murray took a hell of a beating.
Yeah, I saw that scoreline. Was not expecting it. Kind of thought I was going to be strapped in for a 4 or 5 hour marathon. I'm trying to rack my brain. Forgive me. I'm just I've just woken up from a nap because this is
Me too. Yeah,
this is how Australia works.
yes, it is. Yeah.
Nothing. Oh, yeah. The beginning of the day. I'm surprised in the way it happened, but the actual loss, not so much. Vondrousova taking that loss to Yastremska.
Yeah.
The 6-1, 6-2, I believe, scoreline is quite a thumping.
Yeah. I watched that match. It's probably the only match that I've probably watched from start to finish. Well, I guess Berg Tsitsipas, I was pretty much over that one, but she just didn't look. It looked like it was too hot, basically. That's what it looked. Now that could be a too simplistic reaction to that result. And Yastremska played well, but she didn't play that well.
She wasn't asked to really elevate super high. Yeah.
There was a few balls that I saw, particularly in the second set, where Vondrousova was not chasing them with full gusto, put it this way. So whether she was sick or whether it was the heat or a bit of both or maybe something else, yeah, there was something wrong. And of course, she's only won one match since the US Open.
Garcia?
No.
Oh, sorry. I just sorry. That's the sleep talking. But yes,
don't worry. Don't worry. I called Mensik Mashak earlier, but of course, Mensik beating Shapovalov in straight sets, albeit 3 super tight ones. Passed through in 4. Laura Sigmund 11-9 in deciding set tiebreak.
Medvedev looked quite shaky, to say he was playing somebody who was in his first Grand Slam main draw. Quite shaky.
Yeah, because of course he lost the first set there, although in the end his opponent retired. I saw the second set, or more like the latter stages of Donovekic's loss to Pavlyuchenko.
That was straightforward as well.
Yeah, I did. I have to say, I thought Pavlyuchenko would win that one.
She looked better on form coming in.
Yeah, exactly.
Garcia with the double fault there after being up 40-love.
Yeah.
I guess I'm a little bit behind the score.
Yeah, I can change the score. I can change to a slightly slower one.
It's no big deal. Oh, they're flashing some scores in the lower right corner of my feed here, and I see Felix Auger-Aliassime took the first set in his match over Dominic Thiem.
Oh, they're playing right now, are they? Okay.
They're playing right now, yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of the battle of the
people that need to win. People that need to win, yeah. They definitely need to win.
And I'm thinking I did go Felix before the tournament, despite the fact that I know he has now won the first set. But
I actually picked Dominic team, and it was slightly just because I was tired of getting my hopes up for Felix. So I guess I'll get my hopes up for somebody else. But I would not be mad if Felix wins that match. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, and Ben Shelton in straight sets against RBA. I thought that could have been tricky.
Yeah.
But Ben Shelton took care of the big points in 3 straight sets, so that was good to see.
Yeah, so he is on course for a match with Novak Djokovic if they both get to the 4th round.
Mm-hmm.
I don't recall them ever playing before, and I don't recall them ever having any telephone issues or anything like that.
Yeah, it's been a smooth connection so far, right? Yeah.
And Alicia Parks will play Leylah Fernandez. I think that's an intriguing second round match. I know that they both played yesterday, but that was a second round match that sort of stood out for me.
Agreed.
Make sure you hit the like button and do subscribe to the channel if you are new. Still, we've not had any break points or even come close to it, really. But we might get one maybe in this game, 40-30. What's your feed? Is it ESPN in the US that you watch?
It is, yeah. Yeah, it is ESPN, but I'm actually trying to log into my ESPN Plus feed because that seems to be a little bit, there's a separate stream for ESPN Plus subscribers and people that are just subscribed to the ESPN traditional cable package, and I'm subscribed to both. And I'm trying to make sure I get the most accurate or quickest feed.
Yeah. I tend to just sort of watch the match nowadays rather than the scoreboard in case it is a few seconds ahead.
Fair enough.
This one, the Google one, is slight. Tennis TNS is the fast one.
They are. I love that app.
Yeah. My Eurosport feed is okay. The problem is it sometimes freezes. And we have got a juice game here. So it sometimes freezes, and then suddenly, as the match goes on, you end up being a few seconds behind, if you make sense, you know?
Damien will make 70 unforced errors again. I've given up.
Damien's a keyboard warrior this morning. He's had plenty of coffee, it seems, and he's to share his opinions.
Yeah, I do understand the slight frustration with Parks. She squeaked through that first round, which she should be happy about because that was her first Australian Open main draw win, which points to the fact that she really is inexperienced in the biggest stages of the sport, but also even on the smaller stages of the sport, she looks very ill-equipped sometimes, to put it mildly.
Second serve here for Garcia, break point. So this is the point that I suggested might come. Of course, she got that aggressive return position. Kind of works. She's very much in the rally here, but Garcia, and she's got it after an unforced error off the forehand of Naomi Osaka. First blood to the French woman, 3-2.
First blood to you also, John, because you know you're pulling for Garcia and I'm on the opposite side. So our reputations are on the line here.
I would normally be a neutral observer, Miles, but again, once we start predicting these things,
we got to
then you're like, yeah, then you start pulling for it, you know?
Have you ever heard the phrase standing on business?
No. Is that kind of similar to this? Is it?
Yes, it's kind of, it means just standing your ground and like when you say something, you're actually going to follow through with it. I have no idea who started that phrase, but it's a very popular phrase in the States very recently. So if you hear anyone else say that, you can say Miles taught you that one.
Got it. Yeah. I saw Naomi Osaka tapping her name as she walked along the sort of Hall of Fame, so to speak, for Australian Open winners.
I thought that was cool. She's made a habit out of that, and I mean, I think it's there for a reason. She might as well just get an energy source for it, I guess.
I guess we could throw Naomi Osaka. I've made a video, Miles, of the Kenin, Andreescu, and Raducanu debate. So I took sort
from
of
WTA Weekly.
Yeah, 30 to 60 seconds. I took that clip and then I got some other people to send in videos for their thoughts and their takes. And Damien, myself, and Andre as well last night, we had a chat about it, and then I put the whole thing together into sort of 15-minute montage. And but I guess you could throw Osaka into that debate, and I think probably she would then be, of the four, she'd be the one that maybe we would probably mostly go for in terms of the most likely to win another Grand Slam.
If I throw Osaka into that mix with Bianca, Emma, and Sophia,
yeah.
At the moment, it feels like Osaka, even though she's the lowest ranked out of all of them. She has the best momentum, and that's very much so recent, but still, it matters. So,
also Naomi, in terms of injuries, it's not been as prominent for her as, say, 2 or 3 of those other players that we mentioned.
Yeah, her time away from the court has been a little bit different than just injuries.
Exactly. So. Yeah, exactly. So to win an additional Grand Slam, I should probably phrase that. Say, of course, Naomi's on multiple Grand Slams already.
Yeah.
Yeah, Terry giving his views. But there's also a chance that all 4 don't win another one. There's a good chance.
There's a chance. Yeah.
I mean, I know when the question was phrased, Nick was very keen to emphasize, and rightly so, that he's not saying that one of these is going to win one anytime soon. But I like the question so much, I thought I put out a few polls that got quite a lot of attention.
We like that.
Yeah, there was probably between the 2, they got about 700 votes, maybe even 800 votes. Yeah, but Raducanu emerging the winner in both polls on Twitter and the YouTube community tab. $40-15 now on the Garcia serve.
It'll be interesting to see how long she can hold this break. Advantage, I should say.
Yeah.
All right, there goes my stream. For this entire time, I've been short. And I think this is the best version of it, because Osaka set to serve at 2-4.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've sped up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yes, and Osaka yet to make an impression on the Garcia serve.
Which is kind of the opposite of what I thought was going to happen. Very much of the opposite.
If Osaka had gone a round or 2 further in Brisbane, then I might have had more conviction for Osaka.
That makes sense.
I mean, I know he's not playing in the end, but Rafa got 3 matches in Brisbane. It was like, right, okay, that's something. That's some tennis in his legs before playing in Melbourne. And Naomi, did she win a match? I'm just trying.
She did. She
won
beat
1 and then lost 1. Yeah.
Yeah, she beat Korpach and lost to Pliskova.
And how long has Naomi been away for? A couple of years.
Her last match was September of 2022. Before that, in Tokyo.
Okay, 18 months. Yeah. And some pressure now on the Osaka serve.
There's another window, for Garcia. And Osaka's body language is looking a little perturbed, but looks like she's trying to fight through it.
Of course, there was a bit of a merry-go-round with coaches during the off-season, and Osaka is with
Fawcett.
Yeah, exactly. Who was with Qin Wencheng. Qin Wencheng was a little bit upset with that, and later on. But then, of course, she then picks up Pera Riba, who left Coco Gauff. Be interesting to see how Coco is Brad Gilbert in Australia. I guess he is.
He is in Australia. Yeah.
Is he working for ESPN as well?
I was going to say for more than just coaching Coco, because I've heard his voice on ESPN too. So double duty.
Couple of break points now for Garcia to have one hand on the first set.
which is interesting because now that I'm inside the dynamics of the match, I am trying to give a little bit more leniency and grace to Osaka because she's showing signs that this is her third tournament or third match back. In the first tournament, maybe I was just so fooled with rose-colored glasses that she was just back. But
Yeah.
there are some signs that she's a little rusty.
I also think, if she played Garcia in the third or fourth round, that was another thought for me, although she's held, say, one of these break points. So that was another part of it. So it was more it was a bit of both, because I was encouraged by Garcia in the United Cup. And by the way, long way to go yet in this match. And this could be a 3-set thriller and Naomi ends up emerging the winner. But
hey, sign me up for that.
Yeah. I'd be okay with that, even if it proves me wrong.
Trying to fix this light of mine again. Not wanting to work for me.
Laura Siegmund, 11-9 tie-break win over Alexandrova.
Friend of the show, Laura Siegmund.
Friend of the show, indeed. And I was, I think she was down a little bit in the tie-break. I mean, never drastically, but like a mini break here and there. And I was sort of saying back-to-back Grand Slam losses to seeded opponents in 3 sets. I was saying, because of course I remember the Coco match, albeit I think the third set against Coco was quite comfortable for the American, I think. Just trying to remember. I remember the drama of that match, and I thought it was quite funny.
Man, Osaka took up the opportunity and didn't really take it on that backhand because she really knows how to snap her wrist on that serve. It's I guess this is a little bit of rose-colored glasses still, but seeing her serve is quite nice, especially when I think about some of the other top players and some of their serving woes. She just looks a lot more assured in the serve, especially when it's clicking like it is kind of right now.
Garcia got a net cord there.
It threw her off, yeah.
Yeah. And the backhand was pretty far long.
She has another game point here, which would be a good game to win because this game has been upwards of 4 minutes. So,
and then you put a bit of doubt in your opponent's mind. It's sort of it's a hold, and then Garcia suddenly, from being one hand on the first set, as I suggested, is actually serving at 4-3, and it's a lot tighter. We'll see. This game is 5 minutes old already.
Yeah.
I joined your Twitter Spaces. I think you may have been snoozing at this point. It was around the time,
earlier today.
Yeah, Murray's match was beginning, or maybe even sort of 1 set in. It was just probably after as well. Vekic and Pavlyuchenkova had finished around that sort of time. So about 3 hours ago, I'd say.
Hope it wasn't too bad of a showing, because sometimes the spaces can be very interesting.
Usual. That I can't remember his name, Miles, so I apologize, but he's so funny. He's so funny. You're sort of co-host.
Is he our resident? Oh, our co-host. I was going to say, is he our resident? What's the term? Impersonator. There's a person that frequents our spaces that impersonates Osaka's voice almost perfectly.
Oh, okay.
Which always makes a laugh out of everybody.
I didn't hear that one, no. But yeah, all sorts of random names appearing in the chat, including Muguruza, and he's not a fan. Your co-host of Muguruza.
Yeah, I think if I'm thinking about who I'm thinking about, then he's a big Kerber fan, and I don't know if Kerber and Muguruza have played. I don't know if they've played too many epic matches that have gone Kerber's way. I don't remember.
And it's funny because, I mean, Muguruza is one of the most aggressive players on the tour. I mean, I know she's sort of having some time out right now, but maybe even the most aggressive.
That timeout is taking a little bit longer than I thought, actually. It's coming up on a full year.
I think
and it's
the Australian Open? I don't remember.
She did. She lost. I remember exactly, because she had this pattern in her matches of getting close to winning and then just completely capitulating. And I think she did the same thing against Elisa Mertens, which is a perfect opponent to do that to. Or I guess maybe not perfect opponent to do that to. But yeah, shortly after that, speaking of Alicia Parks, to close that loop, how we were earlier, she last played in Lyon of February last year. So it's coming up on a year, which is much longer than I thought it would be.
Is that the title that she won, Alicia Park?
Alicia, yeah. That's the one. But it's funny enough not on the calendar this year. So.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
I'm just seeing a clip of Haddad Mai hitting a nice return to win 6-2 in the third.
That's good.
She was in a spot of bother. Yeah, Haddad Mai in a way is in a not quite as deep a hole as Kudermetova in terms of form, but there's been a few losses from her in the last few months that have not filled me with a great deal of confidence that she's going to have a deep run here.
Did Kudermetova get through Gulibich?
Did I say Kudermetova? Sorry, I meant
Oh, oh yeah. Okay, gotcha.
Actually, I don't know how Kudermetova got on. I'd be interested to know. She lost.
Kudermetova lost to Gulibich.
Yeah, 6-1 in the third.
She's not a great Grand Slam competitor.
Does seem to be that way because
Yeah, on the tour she's much more reliable.
Yeah,
than
yeah.
Grand Slams.
Yeah, saw her play really well in Berlin last year, I remember.
Mhm.
And of course, she won a title, didn't she? Beating Swiatek en route.
She sure did in Tokyo. Yeah, in Tokyo. But Gulibich is actually, I think she took advantage of that window of time between November and December where there's a couple of 125Ks. I think she may have picked up a win somewhere there. So maybe she has some confidence.
Yeah.
Damien.
What was I can't even remember what the sentence was.
I think I was saying that
I see about
Kudermetova isn't. Yeah. Very, very big point here, by the way. 30 all 4-3, and Osaka does not even get the return in play, so that's not great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it was just, I mean, it still might, especially if we go to deuce, but it's
still
just
tight,
starting to feel like that was sort of the previous game hangover slightly, you know, as I was sort of, you know, 4-2, 5-2, or 4-3 is huge, you know. But yeah, that return, it was there for Osaka. I mean, I say it was there. It did kick up a bit. So, I mean, Osaka's return position is almost Garcia-esque at times.
She has a such better way of controlling it, I think. And I think in my mind, maybe because I've watched more Osaka matches than Garcia matches, I've seen her win the battle of the return more so than I've seen Garcia win that battle.
And we are now at deuce.
Mm-hmm.
Almost a forced error. That's a debatable one. Some might go for unforced on that one.
Ooh, speaking of returns, the return that Deuce Osaka hit set her up for a great put away, but she missed the put away on the backhand side.
Few chances now. Gone a begging.
I think that's identifier of the rust because Osaka doesn't miss the middle of the court put away backhand too often, but missing one into the net probably shows the lack of match play.
First time she'd really sweetly struck that return in this particular game, and it set her up, as you said. But she showed one or two signs of rust there on the backhand side.
We should circle this game here, regardless of who wins it. We should circle this game. 4-3 first set, 30 minutes in.
Yeah, back at deuce.
One of the commentators just said that Garcia's game can look great, but sometimes it actually is out of sync, and I think that is a great way to put it.
She's been tweeting some positive vibes in the last 24 hours.
Caroline.
Garcia? Yeah. I know, I don't know exactly what she meant by it, but a few times in the last 12 months, she said that basically not all was well off the court. Now, I don't know what that meant exactly.
Yeah.
I know was possibly one of those thoughts.
It could be a quarter life crisis or something thereabouts, because I know she just recently turned 30, and sometimes there's just angst about doing so. Yeah. As someone that just did so.
Oh, you just turned 30 as well, did you, Miles?
I turned 30 last year, so I understand.
Yeah, she said in a
Gotcha.
press conference, I don't know if it was in response to one of my questions, I don't remember, but she did say in a press conference that she said, I just remember her, I asked her about her year, I think, and she said it was a tough one on and off the court. She was keen to
I think her relationship with her, I'm just guessing here, but her relationship with her father may have been a little bit of a point
Oh,
there,
okay.
maybe.
Getcha, okay.
Yeah, because I know he's been in and out of the coaching camp a little bit, so maybe.
Okay. Okay. Back at juice again.
Good game here. Osaka's really digging in and getting some balls in and out of the corners that maybe she wouldn't have if this match wasn't in a really pertinent point in the set. Understand, Terry. I wonder if this match is fulfilling the eyeball test in Japan and Australia, for that matter, because they put it in a primetime slot. So
Yeah, although a little late probably in Australia, maybe, but yeah, Japan should be sweet spot because if it's like, I don't know, if it's 11 p.m. in Australia, and it's a pure guess, it could be. Oh, I can see it on the clock at 20 past 10, so not too bad.
yeah, not
But yeah,
terrible.
in
Sunday.
Japan it'll be like 20 past 7, maybe 20 past 6. And Garcia was held with what I think was an ace. But there we go, 5-3, so circled game, suggesting. That's been a couple of interesting service games from both players where there's a few juices. And now that first set is very much within sight.
Yep. Those are the kind of returns that just stick out in my mind with Garcia. The ones where she takes it early, but she mistimes it and it just goes into the doubles alley. And it was like, why did we have to take that return so aggressively when she jams herself and the point doesn't even get a chance to get started.
It was a second serve and she still couldn't react.
Yeah.
It was kind of into the body, but yeah, just a few centimeters back and she could have hit a lovely backhand return.
It's almost like the ball rarely looks like it jams her. She jams herself. So that's, and it just looks like she doesn't have any wherewithal to know how to better vary that stance in the attack mode on the return. It's quite interesting.
If Osaka double faults, it doesn't really matter where she stands.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I think sometimes as well, I find this both as a player, but also sometimes watching the professionals. When not with Garcia because it's her natural position, but when you see Bublik just doing his Bublik things and he's standing a couple of feet inside the baseline or maybe even closer to the service line, it does put off the opponent.
Garcia with a wonderful attacking point to the net there. She's within 2 points of the first set.
Yes.
That was a great attacking point, and if you like Garcia at the net, you would love that point.
And she basically decided not just to do it, an aggressive return, but to act on it.
Great backhand from Naomi. I'm sure she's been looking for that backhand for a couple of points now. As you should be, Damien. You have a lot going for you at only 25. So
yeah, 25.
This is a interesting aesthetic thing I just noticed on the corner of the court. Earlier in the day, it looks like they showed the Google Pixel stencil.
Yes, they did. They changed it now to Marriott
Bonvoy, yeah.
So they're obviously sharing the advertising rights.
Yeah.
Not a great return there from Garcia, so we've got game point here for Naomi.
Thanks, Sean. It's an old jacket. And she closes out the game with an ace. So she asks Garcia the question, can you serve it out?
Second serve ace as well.
I think so, yeah. Man, I can't wait to get to Melbourne one day because Although Rod Laver is a big stadium as far as just general stadiums go, as far as tennis stadiums go, when I think about some of the largest, especially in the Grand Slams, I think Rod Laver is the most intimate, actually.
Okay.
From what I've seen and from people that have actually been there, there's really not a bad seat in the house, and a lot of the same, I guess, construction of Rod Laver they've put towards other show courts in the Melbourne Park, and it just looks like there's not a bad place to sit, really. Maybe because everything is sunken and everyone's like above the level of the court, where that's not always the case. I don't know, but it just looks like it's like there really isn't a bad seat in the house.
I have been, but it was a long time ago, Miles.
Mm.
2006. I was there.
And they
I
were
mean,
playing on the Rebound Ace back then.
they were playing on the what, sorry?
Rebound Ace, the green court that was made out
Okay,
of
yeah, it was
old
green,
tires.
exactly. Yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, the environment appears so different that I don't know if I can judge the current Rod Laver earlier. Maybe they're exactly the same and just one was green and one was blue, but it feels like a different stadium just by changing the color. So yeah, exactly. And it was, I had day tickets. By the way, Garcia is serving for the set, and when it gets to the crescendo, I will
Hey,
interrupt
Matthew.
my walk down memory lane. Hey, Matthew. Yeah, but I was there in 2006. I had day tickets, and the day ticket matches were a little bit on the lame side, so
Mm.
we ended up queuing and getting some night session tickets too. But the night session was good. We had Sammy Stosa, who was I think a teenager at the time, and had that was her breakout tournament.
Was she
She
taking
was
on
playing
Hingis?
exactly,
Mm.
yes. Fourth round, very good, Mars.
Mhm.
And the same session, the night session, culminated in a 5-set thriller between Federer and Tommy Haas.
That sounds great. I remember that Stosur Hingis match because that was Hingis's comeback from like a mini retirement or an actual retirement that just didn't last that long.
Love 15, by the way. Does Garcia have the nerve? She should surprise me. Yeah, I wonder about Garcia's nerve. Although right now, it's if she can't handle the first set of a first round. I mean, actually, there's kind of funny things, with nerves. Actually, I shouldn't demean the first set of a first round because I actually thought that Coco Gauff's most nervy match was the first round last year in New York, and
Mm.
I think the expectation as well in that first match, can get you a little bit, and then you can ease yourself into the tournament. You get a couple of straight set wins, and by the way, there's a double fault there for Garcia, so love
Osaka
30.
looks to be there's something that just shifted in her eyes to me. So I'm interested to see what the next couple of points look like. As she's returning, it looks like she's mouthing something to herself. So that's quite interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. Ah, yeah, I can tell that she's really trying to dig in here. Narrowly hit the tape with that backhand stretched out wide.
Mm-hmm. In the end, it's Osaka's
Big point
time.
here.
Yeah. Well, they're all big now, whatever happens in this
Yeah.
match.
Feels like less of a first round match. More second week, fourth round, quarterfinal.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is with this match, I think a lot of us has also sort of looked at it and thinking whoever wins this match could well make the second week.
Yeah. And if Garcia is landing forehands like that in the corner, she would be well on the way to the second week. That was a great forehand in a tight moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, lovely down the line. Yeah, nothing Osaka could do about that. 2006, Damien.
Another really big point here, 30 all. That's a statement. A statement ace at 30 all to bring up set point. Wow.
Yeah, again, little Naomi could do about that.
Yeah. Garcia with a set point.
This might be the first time that I've seen both Nerlan and Damien in the chat. Are you familiar with our resident Nerlan, Miles?
I've seen Nerland's name quite a few times in the chat, but I'm not sure what makes him our famous resident chatter.
Yeah, you'll soon see. There'll be some controversial take from him in a second, and then you'll get it. Oh, and Garcia's held with an unreturnable.
That was a
So-
great game to close out that set. Very
Yeah.
confident and assured of herself, which I
Yeah.
wasn't sure that I'd see from Garcia, but she
Not at
displayed
love
it.
30. Yeah.
Yeah.
not at love-
Yeah. That was something to see.
Yeah, it might well be Damien's first or second time in the chat, maybe. So that might be one of the reasons. But yes, I'm sure we're going to get a take from Nerlan.
John, how's my clarity, by the way? Am I
Yeah,
clear
you're
on
fine.
I'm fine. Okay,
fine.
cool.
Yeah, I mean, I'm, as you can see, I'm actually just lying on my bed. I'm professionalism has gone all out the window for me today.
I like that though, because I think I'm not sure who said it. Maybe it was you, but that tennis needs a little bit more coverage that's less prim and proper and
Yeah,
more rough around the edges.
I think it might have been me, but it was based on something that you may have said in terms of a few months ago we were doing a stream, and I was like going, we're all over the show today, and I think you said, well, it's the rough edges that makes talking tennis great. But on top of that, I also saw a tweet from Matthew Willis, I think his name is, but and he was just saying that maybe the sort of smooth production from break point and all that might not be as appreciated as much as like sort of rougher sort of stuff, if you like.
And there's already people trying to devalue breakpoint based off of the not so smooth editing that honestly I don't think I even would have noticed. But there's been like some breakdown video that's kind of going viral in the tennis community of the camera panning to Raducanu about to return on a backhand side, but then quickly showing her hitting a forehand, and the guy describing how poor the editing is. And I was like, I wonder if the person watching breakpoint that has no idea about tennis is even picking up on the fact that the camera cut to a forehand when it should have been cutting to a backhand. And
that is a vibe that seems to be apparent throughout, is that I just think that they don't really know anything about tennis, and I mean the US Open, they just missed the final.
They picked such an odd time to show. Maybe I shouldn't say an odd time, but where was all of this energy when we had Serena, Roger, and Rafa? And like where was all of the breaking documentaries and behind the scenes stuff when there were the leading people in tennis? Now we're you know, I didn't hear any
I know
of
what
that.
you mean, Mars, but I guess you can't choose that. I mean, it's like me saying I wish I'd started this YouTube channel a couple of years before.
Yeah,
you're busy doing other things, you know.
True.
I don't know what they were doing, Formula One and stuff like that. But I just think it's just been. It doesn't really meet any of the criteria it could possibly, you know, either go in for new people and make it interesting
and make it easy to digest, which I think they're trying to do, but maybe not.
They are trying, but I don't think that they're not succeeding.
I do like that angle though. I like the fact that like, because I literally found myself talking to an old colleague the other day. Garcia held, by the way, for One Love. I was talking to a colleague who I've known for years and years at this point, and believe it or not, I actually, like, in a work setting, I don't always talk about tennis. Funny enough, I'm talking tennis. So I was trying to describe to him like how I got interested, and then I also found myself trying to describe the scoring system of it all. And I was like, the fact that I can't do this in a proper way without actual visuals and like maybe a pointer and like a calculator, it just proves the point that tennis takes a little bit of adjusting to. As far if you really want to get into the weeds of knowing how scoring and stuff and the terminology of it all, I could understand that angle of trying to simplify all of that and make that digestible, but I don't see that happening with Breakpoint either. So I can see how it's in a little bit of a gray area, because it's not necessarily attracting new fans by the droves, and the fans that already love tennis are not being enamored with it by the content. So it's a little tough.
And I think whether you're a beginner in the sport or a nerd, I just think you can't focus on a Grand Slam and then just then just end it with
Straight to the final.
yes, they ended it. They ended the episode with basically Alcaraz beating Tiafoe, and that was obviously an epic match, 5 sets and all the rest of it, and
Mhm.
Alcaraz's run was fairly epic. And then that was into the episode, and the next episode it was WTA finals of Arina Sabalenka, which by the way was probably the so I've only seen the first. I was at the second season. We just had the third season? Is that
There
what
was
we're
a
on now?
no. There was a break in
part.
production, a 2-part of the first season,
2 parts
and
of the first
the
season.
second part of the second part of the first season is what showcased Tiafoe's run at the U.S. Open and
Yeah.
Sabalenka the WTA finals. Yeah,
I like the Sabalenka angle. I enjoyed watching, her, especially as I knew by the time I was watching it, I knew that she was going to go on to win the Australian Open, so that was kind of nice. But that was about it, really. From that whole thing, I think that they were very, very kind to Nick Kyrgios during his Wimbledon run.
Isn't that interesting how they've been so kind to some of the most polarizing men on the ATP tour, and
yes,
Kyrgios and Zverev now?
And I think they've given 2 episodes to Kyrgios,
and a whole episode to Zverev. Yeah, that sounds right. It's quite interesting.
I don't know why that. I mean, that again.
Maybe they're trying to capitalize off of the bad boy image or the
on Zverev. I mean, there's bad boy and then there's bad boy. I mean,
yeah. I agree. Both of them ride the line of acceptable villain very often. You have to really ignore a lot to both of them to just kind of playfully say that, oh yeah, they're just bad boys and they have attitudes. It's like, no. Some of the things they've been doing and proved to have done in some cases are just things you wouldn't associate with an upstanding adult and man, so
yeah.
Damien is encouraged.
The other thing was Zverev is it's not like he is a spectacular player at times, but it's not like he's somebody who you think we've got to find out more about this guy.
Yeah,
he's not
reinventing the wheel.
I get it a bit. No, with Kyrgios I get it a bit. The sparks and all that, and the Bublik would be. I would get that with someone like Bublik. But there you go.
I know what you mean.
Whether I do eventually get around to seeing it. And the other thing for the nerds, I think maybe for non-nerds, it maybe works a bit better. But for nerds, and I mean that in a good way, tennis nerds, that it's badly timed when it gets released because it gets released on the eve of a slam.
That's also interesting too. Yeah.
Maybe that works in terms of generating interest in the upcoming slam and blah, blah, blah. A comfortable hold there for Osaka.
The past 3 holds have been comfortable for the server. It's been pretty quick pace too.
But for me, it's just like there is way too much tennis right now to then chill out for 5 or 10 hours and watch this series. Because in Australia it's thick
and watch Australia. Yeah,
it's thick and fast in Australia. I mean, maybe even more so than the French or Wimbledon.
Yeah, because you're falling asleep to tennis and waking up to tennis in the States.
Yeah.
So it's
and
quite a lot.
That week when we had Brisbane, we had Hong Kong, we had obviously Brisbane on the women's side and Auckland. We probably did more stuff on the channel that week than we may even do during slams. I think we did 5 streams one day, 5 live streams.
And who has time to go to binge a Netflix show in the midst of all of that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Who needs Netflix when you've got Talking Tennis? Hi, Alex.
Agreed.
Well, I think she needs to return better. That's for sure.
Yeah. Return better and take advantage of short balls, which is something I guess because I've taken her for granted and assumed she would assume these things would kind of just fall into place. I thought she would have that down path, but maybe we see that kind of step up a little bit in the second set. That's why you play 2. So
yeah, this does feel like there's a long way to go yet. Whether it's
it does.
Whether it's a 7-6 second set or a third set incoming, I don't know, but it doesn't feel like it's going to be a 4-3.
Agreed. Osaka's crouching down for the second serve of Garcia. Puts the serve at her feet and misses another backhand into the net. There's a couple of backhands she's mistimed and kind of yanked at, and they've gone into the net. So
Demonor losing a set to Reinich. I was a little surprised by that.
Nerlin said how cool it would be if Raducanu wins AO. I mean, she's clearly the best talent since Serena Williams. I think she's very talented.
That's one of the that's a hard take. Which if it was from anyone else, I would say, well, that's a bit out there. Best talent since Serena, but by Nerland standards, that's pretty tame.
I mean, because part of that statement is actually very true. I think it would be cool if Raducanu wins AO. I just don't know if she's clearly the best talent since Serena Williams, but she is talented since Serena Williams has come on the tour. Is the roof open or closed, by the way?
Pretty sure it's open, but I could be wrong. At Wimbledon, you sort of the whole dynamic changes, that you could sort of hear it from the way the ball comes off the racket and the crowd noises. But in Australia, it's less noticeable. Sometimes you hear the rain hitting the roof. I remember when Berrettini was playing Nadal in the semis a couple of years ago, hearing the rain at times.
Spare a thought for Berrettini. I'm not sure if he's ever going to get back to top 10, top 15 contention. I'm not sure.
Of course, that could have and should have been him playing today against Tsitsipas.
Yep. Another missed, very mid-court, not a bunch of pace on it shot by Osaka. Those seem to be the ones that are kind of giving her the most trouble. Yeah. Oh, she's talking. Wim Fissette is definitely giving her a coaching session right now. She seems very attentive to listening to that, which I think is also kind of cool. I like the dynamic of that, of seeing a pupil be coached in real time and seeing if it affects the match.
The sort of coaching thing has kind of gone down a little bit in terms of. I was generally against it. I preferred the idea of players figuring themselves out with the information they had before the match, but it hasn't drastically changed too much. Some weird takes on Carlos Alcaraz not being the player he would be without the change in the rules, which is just an odd take from an unusual fan base. I think Carlos Alcaraz probably would have still won Wimbledon without that.
He out of winning the 2 Grand Slams he's already won, and the other multiple titles. Yeah, out of winning the multiple, I think he's in double-digit titles already in multiple Masters 1000s. Some of that would have happened regardless of coaching or not. So, yeah.
And talking of raw talents that don't probably need as much. I mean, I'm not saying that Juan Carlos Ferrero hasn't done a good job, but probably most of the stuff that Juan Carlos Ferrero should be praised for is the stuff that's been going on, back in Spain rather than mid-match. There's some words of encouragement, no doubt, but yeah, when you're such a raw talent like Carlos, it probably in match coaching is probably slightly less relevant.
These service games have been going across very swimmingly. Speaking of coaching, Wim Fissette has grabbed his book out and is about to write something. I don't know. I like the dynamic of that. I really do. I think it adds a layer of intrigue into the match, because that gives me something else to talk about while Osaka goes to sit down on the bench. It could have just been a normal service game, but now I'm thinking about, okay, what is Osaka's coach thinking, and what could he be employing to her the next time they get within speaking distance, So, and I also think that there's something to be said for, again, I can't think of any one example, but in my mind, I love the idea of a match elevating in level or turning around based off of a coach's actual implication to do something different, especially if a match is going one way and it's, a real stinker, and the coach says something that inspires one player or makes them think about developing a point a different way, and boom, we have a much higher level quality, even if it doesn't last the whole time, because it gives a elevation in the match. I think that's great for the sport. Really, I really do.
By the way, the Raducanu comment from Nerlan, it'll be interesting to see how long it lasts, because I don't think you put too much stock in it, but I thought that was quite a tricky first round for Elena.
Did she already play it?
No, it's coming up tonight.
Oh, okay, yeah, it is quite tricky. Pliskova plays well in Australia, but as does Raducanu. So yeah, that's definitely not an easy first round.
Yeah. 2-3 Garcia to serve. Nerland there saying, can you not see how much admiration and reverence John has for him? Yes, that may be true, Nerland, but there is a trepidation as well in the midst of my voice as well, because I never know what bomb you're going to drop next.
Great verbiage, trepidation.
Yes. Yes.
Is Nerland from the Djokovic camp hive?
No,
Sam?
no.
Okay.
The only thing I can say is I don't think he's an eager fan. I can't remember who he's a big fan of. I mean, clearly Raducanu is someone he's a fan of. I just he gives wild takes, and of course, when they come to fruition, you never hear the end of it. But most of the wild takes just end up disappearing into smoke, and then Nerland disappears with equal speed, and then you don't see him for a few weeks because his take was so wrong. I remember he joined the chat for Alcaraz Djokovic.
That's funny.
Alcaraz Djokovic Cincinnati, and it was like, yeah, Alcaraz is going to do this in straight sets. It's going to be
He should have.
and then we just didn't see it. Yeah, I know he should have done. Yeah,
He should have. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, this is funny. He said Billie Jean King could beat Pliskova. No, that's kind of funny. So far another easy service game from Garcia. She's up 40 love. She hasn't neither has been threatened very much in these first almost 6 games of the second set. It's been a quick pace too. So
yes, indeed it has. I mean, it was the first sort of 4 or 5 service games were like that in the first set. Then we had a run of 4 or 5 service games that were either included a break from Garcia's point of view or plenty of juices on a couple of the service games. But yeah, we're back into the groove now for both servers.
There's a double specialist I just saw in Caroline Garcia's box. He's French. Is it Julien Benito? I think his name is. I think that was Benito. I think that's what his name was. Good to see him. Was it Benito and Mahou that paired together to get some double success for French ATP
in a
side?
doubles pairing?
I think, was it Mahou and Benito, or am I making that up? Nicolas Mahou and Julien Benito. I think they were both French players that had success in doubles. It's not really important.
Could be.
Benito and Roger Vasselin won the French. He's the French Fed Cup captain. Thanks, Damien. Julien Benito. Gotcha. $15 Osaka second serve, and she double faults. 15-30 for Caroline Garcia. A little bit of a window here for her. Three double faults overall for Osaka in the match compared to 2 from Caroline Garcia. Definitely some pressure. And Garcia came in off of that return, and Osaka passed her with a nice floating-ish backhand down the line. Garcia gives her clap of approval. That was a really, really clutch point. Now it's 30-all. Big point here. Great first serve from Osaka. And an error from Garcia. Game point Osaka.
Yanan Struff is up 2-1 on Hichikata.
Hijikata is a name I'm going to circle this season. A couple of his matches from Australia really piqued my interest. I'm going to see what he can do. Oh, and Osaka closes out the game with the ace and a nice come on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, we can circle that. Another 3-4 game we can circle.
An understandable come on as well, because she was
Yeah.
15-30, very shaky at 15-30.
If she wobbled there, she'd be down 3-5.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or 3-4, 4-3 with Garcia.
Yeah.
But yeah.
John, I'm gonna refresh my screen really quickly. So if I drop out, it's just me refreshing my screen.
Do it.
Okay.
So 4-3, we are on serve. In fact, we've only had one break of serve in the entire match. It's been fairly serve dominated. So Struffy, as I was saying, is up 2-1. Also, as we touched on earlier, Kudermetova crashing out in the first round to Golubic. In terms of matches that we will have on the next 24 hours, we will be covering Iga Swiatek against Sofia Kenin, but I'm sure we'll have much more than just that. But that's the only match that we've definitely got pinned for the upcoming 24 hours. I wonder how Dominic Thiem and Felix are getting on. Let's have a quick look. Felix is up 2-0, and they're on serve in the third. Meanwhile, here, Garcia is following the trend of comfortable service holds. Any other scores that maybe we can have a quick look at? Hijikata Struff, I just mentioned. Maybe that's it, is it? Is that it? Are there only a few matches taking place right now? Maybe. Garcia is all smiles at the moment. Oh, her catch won in straight sets. Okay. And is this the only women's singles match taking place right now? Could be. Yep, I think so. Mira Andreeva through in straight sets. What about Ons Jabeur? How did she get on? Oh, Badosa beat Taylor Townsend. Okay. Had Mai through in 3 sets. Kalinina winning just 1 game against Rus. Back here, Caroline Garcia. Oh, hello. I see Miles there in the background. Sorry, Miles. I don't know if you were there for very long.
No, not long at all. I was typing back in action.
Are you on?
Can you hear me okay?
I see Badosa. Yeah, I hear you perfectly.
Okay.
I see Badosa 1 straight sets. Very comfortable over Taylor Townsend.
That was disappointing. Taylor Townsend had some singles momentum. She got in as a lucky loser in Adelaide and won a round, and she looked pretty good. And I didn't see any of that match. But I mean, on the flip side, I'm not a Badosa hater or anything like that. So it's good to see her getting some form, getting a win on tour. So.
Yeah. Felix is up 2-0 on Dominic Thiem.
Somebody just tweeted a hot take. Maybe I should send it to you. I don't know if you're going to put it on the thing or I should just say it.
I can. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll say it as well.
It says with the greatest respect to the WTA top 5, I'd rather watch Osaka than any of them.
Okay.
And I think that is a interesting take. I would love to see Osaka in the top 5, but I don't necessarily want to remove anybody. If I had to remove somebody, unfortunately, it would be Jessica Pegula, just because the Grand Slam resume is lacking a little bit compared to the rest of them. But you know,
I'm indifferent on Pegula. I mean, again, if you ask the sort of Grand Slam question, you know, will she ever win one? Probably, I'd go no.
I mean, she has a great shot here. Her draw is kind to her at this Australian Open.
She's had a lot of kind draws in the last 12 months.
I knew you were going to say that.
I can't tell you how many times I've got her in my semis, despite thinking she's got no chance of winning the tournament. And that's a sign that that the draw was kind. You know, I think I had her, and she did get there. I think it was either Indian Wells or Miami, or maybe both. Last year, I think it was Miami actually. I think she did end up. That's a lovely return there from Garcia, and now things are interesting. Yeah, she does tend to get kind draws, but maybe that's partly because she's, you know,
she's always a high seed, and she usually gets to the point where her seeding should get her to. Usually, most times not, which I think is a good component of a top player. It's just that you would expect the top players to get their hands on the trophy a little bit more often, or at least, you know, push the envelope a little bit, but she doesn't do that quite yet. Huge point here. 4-all, 30-all, second set. Osaka with a great serve down the tee. Really aggressive from the middle of the court with the forehand. Garcia with some good defense, and she just goes just long with the forehand. Game point, Osaka. I think it's interesting that Osaka's serving first in this set. It could bear to be a good advantage if we just stick along a little bit longer.
Just one break of serve so far, and we've not had any break points yet in this second set.
Just over an hour in the match. Has been very quick paced. Oh, that's a hell of a return from Garcia. Jeesh.
2 in this game now that she's hit well like that.
Wow. Yeah, you can't. You just got to clap your racket. I mean, that wasn't a bad serve. Maybe she could have gotten a little bit closer to the tee, but Garcia just timed it and whacked it into the open court. I mean, you can look at the replay, and Osaka was barely even into her split step by the time it got past her. So,
yeah,
pressure here. Deuce, second serve. Some tight moments here. Osaka doesn't necessarily look tight in her facial expressions and demeanor, but there's definitely been some tight moments. She has another game point here. Yes, follow me on X. Tuned into tennis. Appreciate it. And she wiggles out of that game to go up 5-4. Garcia would probably want, amidst those great returns Garcia hit, she probably would want a couple of them back just to start the point and ask the questions from Osaka. But you know, she's what's that phrase? Live by the sword, die by the sword. That's kind of Garcia.
Yeah.
The same thing that makes her look brilliant are the same things that kind of make her look a little foolish. Yeah. I probably would have been a lot more kinder and I said the word foolish, which some people have to give me credit for, because there was just there was a betting podcast. I think it's called Game Set Bet. I may be I may be not saying that correctly, but they kind of came to my defense when everybody was piling on about my Gael Monfils tweet, and they said they kind of were like, Miles is actually quite kind to some players that we think he should be much harder on. I'm like, thank you, I try to be.
What's happening with Felix? They're showing Felix on my screen at the moment, or on a split screen.
I haven't checked his score yet. I think he won the second set. Matthew said, "Oh, it's on serve. He's serving. He's 1-2. Yeah."
Yeah. That has straight set vibes, but we'll see.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Do you think Dominic Thiem wraps it up?
No.
We'll circle back. I mean, wraps it up in his career
Oh, okay.
if he keeps losing like this.
I think we're probably a little bit closer to that with Andy Murray right now than Dominic Thiem. Probably, I know that they are different ages, but of the three, throwing in Stan Wawrinka, it does feel as though Andy's a bit right now, and this is a very much a today take.
Yeah,
Wawrinka lost in 5 to a very decent player in Manarino, whereas Andy Murray went out in straights, obviously fairly comfortably. And I thought you were going to say about Thiem ever coming back to some sort of, top 30 or something like that, which I don't know if that's going to happen now. I mean, it used to be, will he come back to the top 5 or top 10?
And now he's dropped it down to 30 or 40.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
There was a
he got in just squeezed in with a couple of injuries, so he didn't have to qualify.
That's a great drop shot from Caroline Garcia. I was a bit nervous for her and still kind of am as she serves to stay in this set. She made a loose error in the first point of the game, but in that last point, she squeaked a drop shot over the net and won the point. That's something she actually should get more in tune with in her game, because she has all the craftsmanship. She just doesn't really deploy it. She can get every shot on the court, really.
Yeah. Drop shots is something we don't see quite so often in the women's game.
Yeah. I mean, I've talked on this platform before that Iga just completely decided to put it back in her 2 belt and never deploy it, which I think is interesting because that's how I got to know her.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some great serving to get out of a pressure moment here, Garcia. Osaka isn't that sharp with her returning in this match either. It's definitely a serve dominant match, and both of them have come to play in that regards. A lot of the responses I saw about this match was determined on which Caroline Garcia showed up, and it seems like a very game one has showed up today.
Yeah, so far. Yeah, this is much closer to the Garcia at the back end of 2022 than probably we saw anything from in 2023.
Is it early morning there about where you are?
Yep, it is.
Gotcha.
Well, it's now 9 o'clock, but it was 7:30 when this match got underway.
Just past 6 a.m. here.
Oh, wow.
5-all, my favorite part of a set, unless I'm really, really nervous.
Yeah, 5-all. Not a score we always get, of course, but we have got it here. And yeah, this, as I said, I think I said it right at the beginning of the set that this was not going to be a 4-3, and that I think I said something about a tie break. Well, I'm not saying I'm calling that just yet, but not had a break point yet in this set. Only 1 break of serve in the entire match. Sometimes when you get matches like that, you sort of talk about the high quality, and I do think there has been some good serving, but I think it's probably also been returns from both players that haven't been.
It's been a weak return showcase, strong serving showcase, and then the ground strokes have kind of been somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, hit and miss.
Yeah. Osaka's missed a couple of backhands wildly or into the net that are just kind of middle of the court backhands. I've noticed a couple, more than 3 or 4. And that's definitely something she's going to have to sharpen up in this comeback. Great serve right there. That'll go up 40-15. I've said that a couple times in this match. Great serve.
Yeah, 40-15 as well.
Mm-hmm. And she closes it out with an ace. Very strong.
Yep, 6-5. So Garcia's going to have to serve to stay in the set again. Zizou Berg's tweeting, or it's actually not Zizou Berg's, but I think it may well be a relation of his. Team Berg's anyway. It is time to invest in the near future with Team Zizou. Bold decision. That will
Is he a
hopefully-
young? I know he's Belgian, but is he a young Belgian, like 23 and younger?
Yeah, he's
Or-
young. He's young.
Okay.
Big on his
I don't-
TikTok.
Yeah, that was gonna be my next thing. I think I've heard him and TikTok in the same sentence before.
Just sharing some live scores there. Oh, Kecmanovic won in 4 sets. Hurkacz through in straight sets. Damien.
Oh,
thinks
without
that-
a tiebreaker. I mean, without. Yeah, I thought he was going to tie
one
break his way
tiebreak. He won
through.
the first set. First
That's
set was
great
tiebreak.
for him. That's great. That's
Yeah.
great for you, B.
But Damien is predicting
a
clash.
5-set.
Go on.
A 5-set thriller on court 5. Muller and Grenier.
Yeah, with Grenier emerging the winner.
Yeah. Looks like Hijikata is trying to work himself into a 5th against Jan-Lennart Struff.
Yeah, trying. And Felix team remain on serve. Yeah, Kecmanovic winning. I think Kecmanovic and Draper. I'm not sure if that's a second round or a third round possibility, just that they had a pretty good match recently in Adelaide. And they played each other at the Davis Cup with Kecmanovic winning.
Terry, I don't know if that's an accurate statement to say I like all the American players. I have an affinity towards some, but some of them I, don't really get on my radar too often.
The British players for me, I don't mind Draper, for example, but I'm not doing cartwheels over the British players. And
Just because they're British. I know what you mean.
Yeah, and so when first game of the match, funny enough, Murray was down love 40, and I think he might have gone on to held serve. I actually switched over and then came back and it was 2-2. So I don't know if he lost that first service game from love 40 or he just managed to squeeze out of it. But I was when he went love 40 down, it was almost too painful at that point, so I just switched over.
Terry, that is true though. I am pushing the agenda for an American man to win a slam because it's been 20 years since one has done so. So a lot of the American men I am pushing for. But that pales in comparison to some of the other countries. Like France has not had a male winner, I don't know how long. And Australia, it's been a while too. So it's not just the US.
Last Australian
Has to be Leighton Hewitt.
Oh, Leighton Hewitt, yeah.
2002 Wimbledon. Yeah.
After when did he win the US Open?
He was a 90s. He was a 90s winner for sure. Back-to-back US
Open. Oh, really?
Open.
Was it 90s?
Yeah. He was
Okay.
90s. Yeah. And after I was going to say Murat Safin, but he's definitely not Australian.
Yeah. So Hewitt's the last male Australian. Excuse me. Female Australians.
Barty.
Of course, Ash Barty.
Yeah. Female French Bartoli.
Okay.
And British women, it's Raducanu. American women, I believe it's Coco. Yeah.
I mean, British men, Wimbledon was like 70 years or something until Murray won.
Yeah. So there's been a drought. Garcia has game points to put us in a second set tiebreaker that I think you'd want to stick around and watch.
Considering the number of players that these countries have in the draws as well, which is why we mentioned sort of France. I mean, they host these Grand Slams as well, but
literally,
the US, France, and Great Britain obviously get fairly generous helpings of players in draws. That just by law of averages, they should be winning more slams than they do.
Yep, they have the setups and the what do you call it?
Oh,
the federations.
Too, yeah.
The federations and all of that.
Yeah.
Hi, Jean.
2 game points, as you said, for a tiebreak. I haven't Gene, but now you've got me very intrigued. But Gene, you sometimes you deceive me with your messages, but this seems like big news. Let's see if it is as big as I'm anticipating. Has he pulled out? Let's see. He's going to go on trial. Oh, and it's on Deutsche Welle, no less, website. Okay.
Is that for the second allegation of domestic violence?
So
TV.
probably,
Sorry,
yes.
anybody watching this on YouTube.
Yes, it probably will be, because that I think the other one is German, right? And this is a German website I'm reading on now, albeit in English. Thank you for that. Gene, that is interesting.
The crowd is definitely trying to urge Osaka on. I hear it in my commentator mic, but it'll be interesting to see how it plays out in this tiebreak. Osaka's doing some mumbling to herself, but looks like some positive mumbling before she takes on this Garcia serve.
My knowledge of German law is not great, Gene, but I think he will be there in person, yes.
Osaka misses another floating backhand that Garcia just managed to get back. There has to be 7 or 8 of them now that she's missed inside the court, backhands inside the net. Wow, or into the net rather. Osaka serving 1-2 in the tiebreak. Sometimes it looks like Garcia's about to hit a screaming return winner and it just floats long.
Yeah.
2-all. The Osaka camp is showing with a notepad and a like an iPad of sorts. I guess they're just taking some notes. Damien.
Oh, I see, yeah.
Too good from Garcia. 2 good aggressive forehands. 3-2.
Mini break.
First mini break to Garcia.
Make sure you hit the like button. Yeah, indeed. And do subscribe to the channel if you are new. And if you subscribe, you'll have the pleasure of seeing that little number tick over to 246.
The rubber meets the road here in this tiebreak for our duel of predictions, John.
It's there in my mind. It is there.
You get some bragging rights, I guess, if it happens.
Okay.
Garcia's dress is quite bright and summery. I guess part of the course of the Melbourne summer down under. There's some French flags flying in the stands, edging her on. Let's see what Osaka has. She's down 2-4 in the second set tiebreak. She's definitely going to try to win one of these points to make it a little bit easier on herself.
Mm.
And Garcia swats it away with the ace down the tee. A beautiful serve. 5-2
Yeah.
Garcia. Wow. Garcia should be very proud that she's able to win this match. because I just didn't see the matchup being advantageous for her. But she's proved me wrong so far.
The French Fed Cup captain, who Damien mentioned in the chat earlier, I see him in the box of Garcia.
Another great aggressive forehand. Looks like Osaka's run out of gas a little bit because she didn't even go for that one. 4 match points for Caroline Garcia. She's taken this tiebreak and ran away with it. Don't think I had this on my bingo card.
I should be very pleased with how she served.
Yeah, especially in the crucial moments.
Didn't face a break until that.
It's Caroline Garcia, game, set, and match, as Osaka kind of fittingly in the match nets a backhand.
Yeah.
It was a quickly paced match. I think Naomi doesn't have much to hang her head on. Garcia should be very proud of avoiding that upset in the first round, but there's just some what's the word? Rust that Osaka clearly had on those floating balls. I tweeted this out. On those floating balls in the middle of the court that Osaka would normally be crunching for winners. They just hit the tape today a couple too many times. And that's kind of the tale of the two sets. If some of those backhands had gone over and into play, who knows how the match would have gone. But yeah, not a bad showing for her first Grand Slam match in over a year. So
that's the thing, you see, and the problem was for Naomi that I just thought that this match came a couple of rounds too early. If she could have, made it. We're seeing the flying Carter there. She knows that that's a big win, because I do think, talking of bingo cards, that the winner of this match does make the second week, and it was sort of either her or Osaka. Now, a lot of tennis to be played between now and then, a couple of matches that Caroline will have to overcome, but listen, serving against Naomi Osaka, whether that's Naomi Osaka, who's been off the tour for 18 months or not, but not to face a single break point in a 6-4, 7-6 match. In other words, you're serving, I don't know, what's that, 10 or 15 times, whatever. To not face a break point, that's very impressive.
Very, very. I agree. I'm quite happy for her and surprised at the same time. I could not figure out how she was going to get advantage over Osaka in this match, but Osaka had to play a level below that I thought she needed to, and unfortunately the level was a little bit lower than what she needed to today. But credit to Garcia.
The Osaka of 3 years ago, for sure, is probably winning that match, because that's her, that we've seen from her. But we did the sort of 6 to 12 months before she left the tour to have a baby, was patchy from Osaka as well. Right? I don't recall a title in that period, and suffering lack of confidence as well at that point. And it was a long way away from the Australian Open winning sort of form we saw. I think, was it beginning of 2021? Was it 2021 she won it, or 2020?
2021, yeah.
When she beat who'd she beat in the final? You're going to tell me now. American
Jennifer
girl,
Brady.
Jennifer Brady, yeah. Who, I think, is she injured again?
She is, yeah. She pulled out of the Australian Open again, so not a great stretch for her right now.
Yeah, pity, because I thought she showed some flashes last year.
This is a nitpicky type thing, but I almost want to say that Osaka's hair got in the way of her performance today. She kept fidgeting with it, and I didn't make mention of that during the match, but she literally kept fidgeting with it. And I don't remember that being
longer than ever.
Yeah. It definitely was something she was moving around with in the match, but hey.
Yeah. Well, there we go. 2 tight sets. Garcia serving reminded me a bit of the WTA finals that she won in 2022, and I'm not sure who the 4th round opponent could be. I mean, I'm getting maybe a bit ahead of myself. But
for Garcia,
yeah.
Based off seeding, it would be Coco.
Got it. Okay. Well, very interesting matchup as well. But that's obviously a while away yet. But You saw Coco, I guess, play. I didn't see her match. How did she look?
She looked appropriate for the conditions. It was very sunny. The sun was in both of the opponents' line of vision, serving for most of the first set. So she kind of scraped that one out, and then her opponent's level kind of dropped, and she took advantage of that and won 6-love. But an appropriate level for the day. I wasn't blown away, but I also wasn't underwhelmed either from Coco. So I was impressed at all around. Yeah.
All right, before you go, Miles, one more from you is that just sort of give me some takes on the last sort of 24 hours of tennis in Australia. What's the results that have stood out for you? I know I said it to you at the beginning of the program, but we can go over it once more.
Definitely a bit nervous for Vondrousova because that spanking
Yeah.
she took to Yastremska is not indicative of what could be a good season for her. And it's also an even year, and she doesn't really perform well during even years if you look at her track record. So that might be another indication of that. Ben Shelton looked strong against RBA.
Yeah.
Tsitsipas had an early hiccup, but Tsitsipas's new pinpoint serve also got my attention. He puts his feet together now on his serve, which is something he was not doing just a week ago at United Cup. I think it's supposed to alleviate some of his back issues, maybe. Medvedev looked oddly scratchy, but that was his first match of the season. He got lucky with the retirement. Impressed here with this match from Caroline Garcia. She showed a good level. I think if she brings that level to a lot of the next couple of matches, she's going to be hard to beat, I think. She just plays so high risk. Who knows? Any other WTA results on the top of my head? I think Svitolina got through today very easily as well. Like one of the very
she did,
matches
I
of
think,
the day.
yeah.
She's somebody that I have going quite far.
The Medvedev thing and not playing, I think, is something we're going to keep an eye on with him, Yannick, and Carlos all taking that route. Of course, Carlos in action tonight. So I think there's something we're all going to be keen to see how that plays out. Once they get 2 or 3 matches under the belt, then we can sort of write that off as being. But if any of them go out in rounds 1 or 2, obviously a couple of them are already through into the second round, but that'll be like, they didn't have enough tennis under the belt. But I understand it. I understand it that they all trust in their game that they're going to make it to the second week, no matter how much tennis they've had in their legs. And then, we've seen it with other top players, like at Wimbledon in particular, with Rafa and Novak, that just basically don't do any warm up because there's so many tournaments on tour. So I do get it, and I think it may well pay dividends for any of those 3 players when it comes into the second week when there may be other players that have been playing non-stop for sort of the last, and we see it throughout the tour with Stefanos Tsitsipas, for example, who seems to play more tournaments than anyone else, and as a result, seem to have a few more dips than others. But I think it's an interesting decision.
Yeah, I think it'll do him well. I just think he had to knock off some of the rust because he did look quite out of sorts against an opponent that had nowhere near his level of experience on Grand Slam stages. So that caught my eye. Terry mentions the win for Mira Andreeva, and I think Korneva got a win the other day, who was an Australian Open junior champ from not that long ago, maybe even last year, maybe. Mira Andreeva and Ons Jabeur won their matches, so that sets up a tasty second round match. I'll be interested to watch. Nothing else on my radar that I can think of that popped out from today. I'm interested to see what Raducanu looks like tomorrow. Also, Iga. I'm interested in what she looks like, and also Rybakina. Those are going to be 3 names I'll watch pretty closely tomorrow.
Who's Raducanu playing in the first round?
Shelby Rogers.
Yeah. I think she wins that.
I have her winning that. Yeah, I do. Sloane Stephens also in action tomorrow. Tomljanovic in action.
Pity about Madison Keys.
Yeah. Oh, Angelique Kerber and Danielle Collins happens tomorrow as well.
Oh wow, another clash of styles there. Although I saw Kerber at the United Cup hitting a few winners. So you're a big fan of Kerber, so I know you'll be keen to see her progress in the tournament. But I tell you what, I do like Danielle. I like Danielle Collins, just the way she plays. It's so much fun. But
it's feisty, yeah.
Yeah, and she likes Australia. I mean, as a
does.
whole, I know she obviously had her final run here and stuff, and I'm not predicting anything quite as big as that right now. But she told me actually just how much she loves. I think she has friends in Australia, and it's somewhere that she enjoys coming to. All right, Miles, big thanks for that. I'm just setting up a last ball drop, so I think that'll probably be Damien and I. But really, really fun today, and of course, even more fun because I won our sort of friendly reputational bet as well. So I'm in a good mood.
I have to start my 2024 overall all again now because my reputation's ruined. Thanks, Osaka.
All right, thanks, Miles. And I'm sure we'll be tuning into tennis again together and talking tennis as well very, very soon. Make sure you check out Miles on all the socials at Tune Into Tennis, where he shares some tennis love there. So do check him out there. Make sure you hit like on this show, and subscribe to the channel if you're new. You're going to get a reminder for that soon as well. And on top of that, Damien and I will be with you in a few minutes with the last ball drops. So yeah, thanks, Miles. Take care.
Thanks, John. Talk to you soon.
Cheers.
Bye, everybody. Bye-bye.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.
We're doing any additional, John? I won't let her go cool down, but we can do a couple.
Yeah, right now?
Okay, sure.
Okay, great.
You got it all inside of you.
Yeah, should work fine. Can I have 10 seconds or 20 seconds?
Okay,
I didn't know, sorry.
all right.
That's fine. He just wants to. Yeah, so we'll just yeah, no, that's fine. You can just put the time and then
Feel it to be true. And when you dance out.
Yeah, sure.
Is it okay to stand here, or you'd rather sit down there?
where do you want me?
Standing here? is
Here? Okay. Yep.
I don't want to, make you stand up for too long. Okay, let me just check the camera's on. Yes, it is. What a return! Leila Fernandez. Take him out. Match point, ladies and gentlemen. Championship. Billie Jean King cut point. Get her in somehow. What attacking? What defense? Wow! Wow! Look at this! Boy,
I was probably a little bit bamboozled with with everything. Sorry.
And Billie Jean King Cup 2023. That's a wrap.
Ready? Play.
Emma Raducanu has given an interview with the BBC where she's outlined her plans to return from injury, when that will be. She's also explained what she's been up to whilst away, and she's been watching much tennis. She's also got an answer for the critics, of which, some are on social media, but also, of course, many within the media. And she's also explained which is the slam that she would most like to win. What is her ultimate dream in tennis? So as I say, the interview was given to BBC London earlier on today, where she outlined her plans to return to next season, and also how she would one day love to win Wimbledon. So she will make her return to tennis next season after struggling with injuries mainly since May. She obviously had injuries since then, but she hasn't played since May. She withdrew from the Madrid Open, I think on the eve of the tournament, to basically have some operations. She's missed 3 of the 4 Grand Slams. She did play in Australia, where she lost to Coco Gauff. And, of course, just a couple of days ago, she dropped out of the world's top 200 and did confirm in this interview with BBC London that she will not be returning to the tour until next year. Britain didn't make the Billie Jean King Cup finals, which will take place in Seville in the south of Spain in November. Also, she has no hope of making the WTA finals, also in November. So she confirmed that next season will be her return to tennis. 20-year-old also said that the slams are obviously finished now, but it has been difficult to watch them go by. She was just said, "I want to stay in my lane as much as possible and keep focused on my recovery," were her exact words. The 20-year-old has been hampered, though, by injuries since winning that US Open title in 2021, when remarkably she managed to qualify and go all the way to the title without dropping a set in New York. She also made British #1 at one point as a result, but has not gone beyond the second round of any Grand Slam since that mesmeric, incredible run 2 years ago, when she became the first British woman in 44 years to win a major singles title since Virginia Wade. She was also asked about how she deals with criticism, and Raducanu had this to say: "The fact they are still talking about me, even though I'm not at these events, is just a compliment. Someone told me once, for example, 'Worry when they're not talking about you,'" she added. Raducanu has, of course, returned to the practice court. We did see some glimpses of her playing some short tennis in August, for example, the first time since she underwent surgery earlier on this year. And in fact, she only did play 10 matches in the first 5 months of the year. She said she does hope to return to better form and fulfill her Wimbledon dreams. "Wimbledon is the dream," she said, "and always has been growing up." Of course, she's from the UK, so it makes sense. She said, "It's the ultimate dream to win Wimbledon." Back in May, she seemed to undergo 3 successful surgeries. She said that she underwent the surgeries on both of her wrists and her ankle in a letter posted on social media. In fact, she said at the time, "It's safe to say the last 10 months, so that would have been the summer of 2022 until these surgeries in May of this year, have been difficult as I dealt with a recurring injury on a bone of both hands," she said at the time. She said she tried to manage the pain and play through it for most of the year, but in the end, it was just getting too much. She was missing so much of training as well as certain tournaments anyway, that for her it made sense to go ahead with these procedures. Well, now she has confirmed that she will be back. I would imagine, therefore, for the Australian swing, maybe United Cup, end of December, beginning of January, perhaps, for the 250 in New Zealand or elsewhere. And then, of course, the Australian Open.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.
Hey, thanks for taking the time to, well, you haven't got any choice actually. I'm just talking at you if you like. But I'm here also to present to you why I think it's not a bad idea and not that expensive as well if you become a member. And this is how you can do it, and this is what you can gain. So if we look here at the Talking Tennis sort of home page, if you like, on YouTube, we can see this little button here which says join. It is also pinned in the live chat as well, and you can also, I think, see it just below most of our videos, certainly the live ones and so on. Now, why is it a good idea to join and become a member? Well, in the live chat, you can add little funny things, you can add emojis and all sorts of things, but possibly more importantly, you can get to access some live videos, such as this one here, where we look back on the last sort of few moments from the Billie Jean King Cup. So there are little bonuses such as this one, but there are many, many more. And in fact, if we have a quick look at all of the members only stuff, I repeat, you will see very, very quickly some of the top stuff that we've had for members only over the last 12 months since the channel began. Remember, these videos are for members only. You can become a member from as little as about $2 a month, €2 a month, £2 a month, something like that. There are various different things. Oh, and by the way, you'll also be supporting the channel. So it's a win-win-win-win scenario. Let me just show you some of the members only stuff. For example, we've got an exclusive little clip there talking to Laura Siegmund, Laura Tsurenko, her encore interview, some doubles footage there from Monastir, the Germany press conference pre-tournament Billie Jean King Cup, Claire Burrell talking as well to the media in her press conference in Monastir, Storm Hunter and Alicia Parks interview, Rebecca Masarova, her press conference, Coco Gauff exclusive for members only, albeit it was in Madrid, but these are just some of the things, some of the interviews and etc. Like Lestien here, a chat with him, Emma Navarro, and so on and so forth. So many little bonus videos available for just €2 a month. So, what are you waiting for? Become a member. Or don't. It's okay. Have on chauffeur. I don't know, shisha.